Hello and welcome to Canberra Survivor, the Ultimate Sacrifice, episode 4. We're going to be recapping a fantastic episode that we got on this occasion. As always, we'll be slamming these people as much as we can when we feel that they are getting it too soft. And I've got some comments on the softness of this episode. We're also fantastically going to be joined by the boot of this episode, Zaddy Simon, as he's been referred to. I don't actually know what Zaddy means, but Annabel's been saying it a lot. And we're bringing him on later in the show to get his take on what it was like being on Canberra Survivor. First up, I'll bring my usual co-host, Max, who's going to be joining us, like always, with all of his lukewarm takes. Welcome, Max.
CK, how you going? Thanks for, I guess, bringing me on. I thought part of this just should have started with you, but I guess not. I know my place. I see how it is.
I'm building it up because
I know. I shouldn't spoil anything.
Unfortunately, this week we are not joined by the star, the franchise of the program, Annabel. I know many of you are now just going to stop watching completely. I do respect that choice, but we don't leave right now because we do have a fantastic person to join us, and it'll be great to get her takes on the whole season so far, as well as this episode in particular. And look, to give her a bit of introduction, you will see her on some future upcoming LRGs that are going to be out in the future. I won't spoil which ones, but she is going to be in more than one. I've seen her play live in action, and she is an absolute ferocious and brilliant player. So I can't wait till you get to see her play, but you get right now to hear all her wonderful takes. I want to bring in Danny. Welcome, Danny.
Hi. Thank you for such a brilliant introduction.
Oh, you're very welcome. I do believe that you are, look, no one can replace Annabel, but you're the best I possibly could find, I feel.
Thank you.
You should be humble, Danny. That's the best introduction anyone has.
I know.
Including me as well. Including me. I stumbled my words there, but
look, Sophie, Max loves your lukewarm takes. There you go. So you got a fan in Sophie. Sophie was a bit of the MVP of this episode, actually.
She was good value. We'll get to it later on, for sure.
So, Danny, before we get into this episode, why don't you tell me a little bit about just generally how you're finding and enjoying Canberra Survivor this season?
So Canberra's one of the probably the second LRG I watched before, like since playing and before playing. I'm loving the twist of it, like being able to go and have to sacrifice something in order to get something great. I think that's a lot of fun, and the personality mixes are fun to watch. I'm keen to see how they develop further.
I agree. The casting is top notch. I feel though we may be entering into the realms of too many advantages. This is true. None have been kind of played as of yet. So I thought we're just kind of waiting. And we knew that we had this menu of advantages that could be obtained from the Ultimate Sacrifice, but now the Love Rocks quest has been completed, and that's a legacy advantage. Does that mean there's going to be 2 legacy advantages, or do you think it was simply the first tribe to complete?
I think it's 1 on each tribe. That's my prediction.
2 legacy advantages on top of all the other crap.
I think there's 2, because that's why they both had to search in like separate areas.
I'm also confused because maybe I've done my maths wrong. You started with 4 rocks, then 3 rocks, and then suddenly there were 2 rocks. Like it seemed like we skipped at some point.
I feel like the edit gave us a quick, just an express version from Cupboardang where it was Sophie who found the first batch there, and then it was Joe who found the last batch where Michael and I think it was Sophie who did the rock off from memory.
Did we see the 3 rocks at some point, or I might have missed that, to be honest? There are some episodes that I've been very tired in, not intoxicated.
And I think just getting up Aston's comment, CK, that kind of explains where the progression of the rocks happened with the eliminated rocks have been taken out, if you want to put that up.
Yeah, okay. All right. Oh, okay. So
all right.
Eliminating, yes. Thank you, Aston. That makes perfect sense. And there was an advantage, therefore, in eliminating Grace because you advanced further in the Rocks quest. more quickly. So yeah, I can see there's an advantage there. I think we had mentioned that in a prior show. That makes a lot of sense. I've watched this episode very recently. I know we're all very inundated with Survivor right now.
I watched it again this afternoon because I was like, fuck, me too.
You're going to be on the show, you're going to need to talk about it. I personally have been really struggling, and I know everyone loves to hear about my circumstances, but my proudest achievement in life used to be winning that Pratty's Mini that I won once. But now I've won a real 30-day org, so now I have actually achieved something in my life, but it means I haven't slept for another month.
Well done.
Well, it's a huge achievement. Well done. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, Max also on a 30-day org. Way before me.
Never played an org ever.
Oh, you'd be good at them actually. You'll play. I'll get you into one, and I promise you will play. I
feel like you should have allocated at least 5 to 10 minutes for this slot, CK. So
I have. Don't worry. It's on the run sheet.
It's on the run sheet. Still going. It's still going.
The whole experience. Yeah. So we get.
What was your strategy going into it, CK?
I copied your strategy of just being a boring, nice guy. Apparently, it works.
Apparently, it does. We're 2 for 2. There you go.
So unlike you, CK. So unlike you.
Yeah, I was playing against Type to see what would happen, and guess what? I won instead of getting voted out as the villain. So onto the cast in this show. Who have you been really vibing with? Who do you really like?
Dan. Me? Well, I think it's hard for me to go past Ma. Like, I just think socially she's top notch. She's there. Seems to be in the right place at the right time. Her read of people is great. And I think for me, she's top tier at the moment.
She's absolutely the MVP of the show.
Yeah.
Do you think, well, here's a question for you, and without any spoilers, of course, because I mentioned you've played in 2 LRGs. So you had the experience that Mara's had, where this was her second LRG. And I certainly feel she's playing an incredibly stronger game than she did when she played with Max and I the first occasion. She's a real star. She's really controlling the social connections. She's really controlling the alliances on her tribe. She's not being gun shy about, being in an alliance with Malcolm, but clearly also wanting to get rid of Malcolm. Like, she's like playing the game hard. Do you 100%. Think that happens from playing a second time?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think you kind of learn what worked for you, what didn't, what to play up harder, what to shovel down a little bit more that people necessarily liked or didn't like. Experience is always better.
Do you feel like you get to manage the pace of the game, especially in the live reality games, how it's just Survivor on steroids and it happens so fast?
Oh, 100%. Like, making choices on a dime is crazy. I remember the first episode of Survivor AU this season, they were like talking about having a day and how hard that was to pick someone to vote out. And I was like, I've literally had like 5 minutes to do that.
It's sort of easy with 5 minutes.
Don't talk to me about
voting you people. At least with a day, you've built some trust. I think they're getting to that point. I feel like they're getting to that point in Canberra Survivor right now where they've been there for a few hours and people are feeling a bit harder about the vote outs. I think so the Love Rocks happened. Michael's got the advantage. It's a legacy advantage. He makes the very smart decision that he doesn't want to. He suggests he's going to tell people he has it, but that he can't bequeath it. And I feel that this is a lie that no one would believe. If you watch Survivor, you know what a legacy advantage. I guess he'll say it's an idol that he can only play.
Yeah, that was how I would. If you were going to say, you leave out that legacy word because
but I'd be like,
bequeathed. What's the point of it being a legacy if you can't leave it to somebody?
I don't know about you people, but if someone said to me, I've got an idol I can only play on 2 particular rounds, I'd be like, that's a fucking legacy advantage. Like, that's what they always are.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it depends on also people's like depth of knowledge on Survivor and LRGs and what that looks like. Not everyone who plays LRGs has a ridiculous Survivor brain.
That's true. And then that's what we had from Purple. Connor was still there for some of it. He was just got a second appearance. And then we move on to the Orange Tribe. I don't do tribe names for those. I've never known a tribe name in my life. We go to the Orange Tribe, and they are dealing with the ramifications of the vote out of Joseph, who was fantastic on the show last week. But there weren't really a lot of ramifications because Mel copped the public votes again. Her super idol is now locked down. And I know we've got Simon coming on the show later. I was so impressed that he's the only one that's clocked that she's got it. Like I know,
100%.
At least 4 of them have been to the ultimate sacrifice. Only not all of them have had advantages, of course, but they know what the list is. And he's like, that's a big penalty. Like 2 sets of 3 votes. You've got that ace in the hole, and she was trying to play it off. So
yeah. I mean, she's done brilliantly to have played it off to this point. Like, so like, kudos to her, like for just being like, it's nothing, and everyone's like, okay.
Yeah, and now like she's in a golden position to move 100%. Forward in the game.
Yeah.
And I know I'm jumping ahead, but I feel like it's a missed advantage from the strategic crew who think they're very strategic, John and Wolfie and Anna, who actually, I think Anna is actually the most strategic of all, actually. But because they didn't clue Mel in on the vote. So this person's got some sort of incredible advantage, and you're leaving her out of the vote, like going into a swap on a vote that's supposed to be unanimous. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, did they clue her in it? Like, did she figure it out at Tribal when there was she live vote? Like, because her face was like, oh. And
did she change her vote to Simon
in Tribal? Or was it...
she voted. She did vote for Haley, but Simon.
She voted for Haley. You see?
Oh, did she? Okay.
So she Mel voted for Haley. Simon thought it was Mel who turned on him.
That's right. Yep. Sorry. Yep.
Which was interesting. Which was
We'll ask him when he comes on, but I feel he probably felt like he overplayed his hand by being like, "Hey, you got the super idol. Let's do shit." Just like, gone.
Yeah, that's what he.
Yeah, well, I feel like if he approached me that way too, I'd be like, bye.
That's it. And credit to like, Simon.
You're the only one who knows, and you need to be gone.
Sorry, your video is just going a bit funny. There, we're good.
Sorry.
What were we saying, Max?
I was going to say credit to Simon, who described himself as a survivor casual, and to pick up that the power that Mel had.
The description was actually filthy casual, if I recall.
Filthy casual. I think that's described by his partner or his wife.
His wife is a filthy casual. So
who is
we all hate filthy casuals.
A big fan.
I think you cease to be a filthy casual when you go on an LRG. I don't care what level of fan you have. When you've reached that level, 100%, you're now a fan. 100%. So they deal with the fallout of the Joseph vote. Haley's ankle is fairly stuffed, as we can see. They're all moving on, and they still want to stick together. They want to go on. And James Wolfe gives us a wonderful confessional about being an orca and all the plankton swimming around his feet, and that he's the apex predator.
He actually wrote it down. Apex, this is how he described himself. The apex predator, the orca, the head of the pod, top of the food chain from James there. What
big words.
What an unreal confessional.
It was a fantastic confessional. It doesn't beat I Hope He Drowns in the Mexican Wave, but it's up there with number 2, I think, for the season so far. I think that though he's missed this goes to 2 really great things we've talked about one we have and one we haven't. One we talked about is the great thing about it as an LRG is only someone like James Wolfe can be the absolute alpha dog of a group of people in that environment. Though he was pretty elite at the challenge, and we'll get to the challenge in a moment.
He did well.
He did actually alpha the challenge. But I can't believe he's not going. If he's going to go predator, how's he not going to go with some sort of wolf thing, like head of the pack, and then do like ooh sort of thing? Like that's the confessional.
That's it. That's it right there.
There's still a lot of TV left. Who knows, CK? He might pull that out of the bag and surprise us all.
Perhaps. But it was. Look,
I think we are going to get some brilliant confessionals from him moving forward.
I'm pretty sure he's got his new line of merch coming out. The wolf pack and the
orca pack.
The pod. The orca pod. Change it now.
Yeah, call this podcast the Orca Pod from now on. Welcome to the Orca Pod. Yeah, okay, I'm going with that. And the thing that I have to give him a lot of credit for is it's one thing to go onto these things. It's one thing to know that, you might be perceived. And look, I'm only talking about me here. I'm not talking about James Wolfe, let's be very clear. I went on these things knowing that I'm going to get edited in a certain way. It's not going to be super favorable. That's fine. As long as I get a lot of airtime, I'm happy. I want to be the star, even if I'm the villain, etc. But to go into your confessional and say something like that, which is so like absurdly arrogant and confident, but makes such good TV, is really brilliant, because it's a lot of people don't want to put themselves out that way, to be that sort of entertainer at risk of having someone watch it and go, what a wanker. Like, but that's what you need to make a great show. And I really applaud him for doing that sort of confessional. I'd wonder if a producer sort of got it out of him. I know when I was doing some producing for for the season that you were on, Danny, that I know you from, I actually encouraged someone to do something that they had done in their application. I wasn't trying to get them to do something artificial.
They did it. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I said, could you please do this for your confessional? And he was like, oh, I'm going to look like a wink. And I said, yeah, I get that, but could you do it? Because it was really
going to be good. Yeah.
So I understand what James was giving there. We move on.
In fairness to James, though, you said him saying, like, having a confessional like that might portray him as a wanker. I don't think it is, though. I think he's just creating the content. As a viewer, as a viewer who enjoys these live reality games, you can't really take that perspective and judge someone based on just what they're giving out in the confessional.
Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Why can you not? You can absolutely judge someone based off of that. I was a bit like, all right.
All right. Remember, Danny, this is the Max's lukewarm takes, all right? I don't need a third person to just.
You're not gonna burn your fingers on this one. It's just a nice little warm bath, like like the kids want.
That's it. Jesus, test the waters, Danny.
No,
I had to replace Annabel, and I think I've done a fantastic job.
I'm an orca. I'm jumping straight in. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm the plankton, clearly.
Max's lukewarm plankton water. We go to the challenge, and I'm really glad they did this challenge. This is actually one of my favorite Survivor challenges.
Yeah, me too.
It's been around for a long time. I think the first time was in Palau, and that was actually made it really enjoyable. I've got a real soft spot for Palau because, despite this confident exterior, I was not a popular person in high school. So the team of losers that got together and just destroyed that team of muscle, I always just absolutely bonded with so well. And, it was led by Tom, who was obviously an incredible machine. But, the rest of them pitched in and they were able to beat the muscle team. And I've always loved this challenge. I love that they've put it back in Australian Survivor. But I don't like the decision of the hosts here to let Hayley sit out, injury be damned.
Yeah.
She should have had to start it and immediately hand off a bag to someone, because that was perfectly within her capabilities.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree. And what we missed here, when Kabadang started, Joe palmed off her weight straight away, and that was missed by the hosts. So rewatching, we have Joe started with purple CK, and as soon as the challenge started, she dropped it off, and I think she passed it off to Banfield. So straight away, they dropped the number, and they had what I'm sure was their pre-planned team going into that challenge.
Okay, Ma has clarified. I'm now no longer as mad at Dan and Liv. Okay. Her team still had to carry her bag, but now I'm going to criticize them for the TV moment, because they should have made her do that on the show. Because then when Simon was like, let's get rid of Hayley, she's weak, she's holding us down, it would have been more poignant for her to have had to actually hand it off in the challenge.
And there's actually having to hand it off too, that would slow them down in the challenge. It's her weight's there, that's great, but she actually got to give it to somebody, and then someone's got to take that on, and it's a whole rigmarole of that.
Actually, Ma, you say they had to carry her bag, but your team, Kubadang, had two people sit out. So I presumed that there was one to match Hayley, and then the normal sit out to even the numbers, because I think both Joe and Sophie sat out of the challenge. Am I right about that? Or
No. What I'm saying, CK, Joe started the challenge, but straight away handed off her bag.
Oh, okay.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, okay.
And going back to the challenge, I want to talk about Mars' disadvantage being a 5 meter pushback, or the 5 meters behind. I feel like she got off very lightly for that disadvantage. I feel like it should have been weight distributed, like another bag. They had to carry another bag. The 5 meters is very easily caught up in a challenge like this.
This is the hottest take you've ever given. Absolutely.
I like it. I love
Absolutely should have been additional weight.
Or
Additional
both,
weight,
additional
or
weight
even
and a length disadvantage.
the 5 meters is a couple steps for a stronger team in that position.
I really liked how they did it uphill as well to give some extra challenge to it. It gets the bit they do in the water where it gets deeper and then a bit shallow, and there's that opportunity to catch up when you're in those positions. I think this was really great. Like it can't. An LRG version of this I haven't seen before, and it was a really fantastic version of it. Yeah. I think they should be applauded. I really enjoyed it. And, you know, I've been calling for a long time, ever since we did the initial cast assessments, that Purple were by far the stronger team, and it really showed here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. They dominated.
And look, Simon and Wolf did everything they could to keep it going. And, you know, they were clearly the fittest people in their tribe, but everyone else just fell out way too quickly. So Mara is telling us that Winyu is the orange for me, is the 5 meter advantage and starting downhill. So they just sprinted and tried to catch. And I think they probably wore themselves out a bit with that approach and didn't quite make it. Our good friend Schneider.
I still think it's a good advantage that Ma had. It wasn't too bad.
We should jump back and talk about Ma telling some people about the advantage because she knew the disadvantage was coming. We talked about this on the prior episode. She told Sophie that it was her intent to use it to the benefit of her alliance in a swap situation, whether it be a tie or a down in numbers. Unlikely to happen now because they're sort of up in numbers quite significantly, you know, versus the orange. But, you know, it is that position. I couldn't tell from the edit whether she told Michael or told Nick. I think she mentioned she was going to tell them, but I don't think we saw any footage of that. Is that correct?
We saw her talking to Sophie about the disadvantage.
Yeah, just Sophie. I don't think she said she
might. She was going to tell Nick, but I don't know. We didn't see it.
It could have happened. Obviously not in the edit, but the Kabadang didn't look too shocked about the disadvantage. So I feel like it was would have been something discussed within the alliances or within the whole tribe, potentially.
Yeah. So I love the challenge. I love the effort that Simon and James put in. They really tried to carry out. And I think, you know, I wouldn't, if you had to make me put a bet on who was going to last the longest out of Orange, I would have bet Simon. I wouldn't have bet James. Like, he's obviously fit, but, you know, he's like basically a twig and he was carrying all that weight. Like, that's a huge effort. Like, well done to him. The ORCA delivered.
Yeah, he was an apex predator in that moment. It was fantastic.
Okay, so Aston Simon had 4 men.
Okay, all right. We take it back.
Take it back. No,
Simon was the alpha. Absolutely.
I feel. I don't know how you guys felt when Simon was pulling out of that challenge and he was handing off the bags. When James ran off, still leaving the one bag on Simon's back behind. Was that annoying for you, or was that something where you kind of felt that Simon could have at least ran up and handed it off to James to give him a fighting chance? Because I felt like it was kind of anticlimactic there.
It was, but Simon said after the challenge that he was gassed, his chest was hurting, like he'd busted his ass, and now he was carrying 16 kilograms by the end of it. Sophie tells us to James's 4, and I think he knew like they were done. Like, let's get real. James wasn't going to outrun about 5 of them. Like, come on, like, you know, it was
a jog. He got like a slight jog, like attempt. Finish it out.
It was okay. Well, you can criticize Zaddy about it when you come on. I don't know what that means. I hope I'm not saying something really offensive. I just copied Annabel.
No.
Aston called me a boomer before for not knowing what it is. So I don't think anyone else. You don't know it either, Danny. Like we're all boomers.
I'm a boomer.
You're not that much younger than me. I'm actually not a boomer either. You know,
I'm like a sexy daddy. Daddy is not your daddy.
Like, welcome to the old podcast with 2 oldies and a young Max.
As a straight man, I'm comfortable referring to him this way. It's fine. I'm comfortable with my sexuality, and I'm happy to call him a zaddy. He's a very attractive man. Now we get on to the ultimate sacrifice. The choice is between so Purple are going to pick someone from Orange. They make a decision to pick Hayley, who's clearly injured and on the outs. I think hoping that she would try to snag some sort of advantage and save herself. Probably not being aware that Hayley's social standing in this game is so good that it doesn't matter that she can't walk.
Yep.
I think that's the right move, but it obviously they don't have the awareness of what's actually going on there.
Well, that's like, didn't they say that we chose you because we wanted to give you a chance to be safe.
She's like, I don't need it. Don't need it.
She was like, I'm doing something right. I'm good. Thank you.
And she brought along Sophie.
They were sitting next to each other in the challenge. So
yeah.
And I think Sophie was the one, or vice versa, who said that's why they were potentially chosen to go with that other person.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes, get Snyder up.
Snyder's always a big listener of the show. Snyder races some sort of like race car stuff, but like with computers, I think. So one of those like online racing leagues that are quite serious with serious racing equipment. And he finished 25th out of 36 in a Daytona race, which is better than I ever did at the arcade, on Daytona. Anyway, well done, Schneider. I'm glad to have you here as always. So Hayley just says, take the advantage, Sophie. I don't want it. Yeah, I don't like this. What do you guys think? I don't like it.
Do you think she should have at least pretended to fight for it?
I think she should have just gone for it. Like every single person who's gone there has gone for it. I think the meta has been set in this game that you're allowed to go for the advantage. I know she's got an injured foot, but frankly, if they're not going to vote her out of that injured foot, which is actually pretty bad, then they're not going to vote her out of some disadvantage. Like the fact is, Anna and John have really locked into her as a close ally. Wolf is in that arrangement too, but it seems like he's maybe slightly on the outs. It's like he's with John, but maybe not part of these core discussions. And why not take your shot at an advantage, particularly as you're going into a bad... we're assuming there's a swap. Maybe there won't be. They're going into a bad swap number, so they're lacking advantages against the purple's numbers and advantages. It would have been worthwhile to have an advantage here. And it doesn't just have to be for her. It has to be for her group and her alliance. And now she doesn't have one, and now Sophie has an idol. Like, where was the advantage in not going for it and letting Sophie have it? Yeah. That's where I see it.
I think she was more worried about the disadvantage. She's already so disadvantaged. She'd like that overruled any potential advantage that she could get.
I agree. And I don't think, from my perspective, I think Hayley in that certain position that she's in doesn't want to bring any more heat her way. Just purely the fact that, yes, she's already sitting out in challenges and her tribe might think that she's hindering the tribe's performances. And any other sort of particular consequence that is shed towards her tribe because of her direct decisions is probably the reasoning behind Hayley not going for the ultimate sacrifice and just kind of keeping it cool and say, look, guys, I went there, didn't go for it, so I didn't cost us in any other way. Just playing that middle ground of just trying to hang on, just survive another round. Don't give the tribe a reason to vote her out. Another reason, rather.
I see the point, but who am I to criticize playing an honest, trustworthy game? Because that's how I win.
It works. It works.
But I would have been trying to like play something up with Sophie, where I'd be like, "Hey, look, you can have it. I want it, but you can have it. But maybe we can look after each other in a swap or something. Is that just too schemy? What do you think?"
No, I think that they definitely could have played it that way. If she knew she was never going to take it, she could have been like, "No, it's all yours. Like, I'm good."
Yeah.
Whatever fashion that could have been.
Yeah.
I do think that she'll regret this now with Sophie turning around saying that she's going to blame Hayley for the disadvantage for whatever the tribe now get. It's just crazy.
Very clever move.
How is she going to blame Hayley?
Because Sophie said that she was going to say that Hayley took the advantage, and the advantage was to disadvantage the other tribe
by making her sit out.
No one's going to buy that.
But that's what I mean. But Hayley's now Sophie's bit the hands now of Hayley being like, all yours.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean there's how many people have been over there and know what the menu is.
Eight.
So there's 8 people who know exactly what's on offer, and they're going to be like, "That's not something that you could play for." So that was stupid.
No one's going to buy that at all. That's an insanely silly thing.
No, I thought the same thing. I was like, No,
Nick's
no
been there.
that.
Nick, Ma, they've all been there.
Exactly, and that's not on the menu of things that you can do. Is make the other tribe sit someone out.
Wow.
Well, we're going to find out what.
Is it? Hang on. Do you have to sit out, or the other tribe pick someone? What's the situation?
So Sophie's disadvantage is she has to sit out the next 2 immunity challenges.
Could you imagine if Hayley had taken the advantage and got that as her disadvantage?
It's on top of. It's on top of people. Like it's not just sit out. It's like on top.
But she's sitting out anyway.
No, I know, but that means there's 2 rather than 1.
But there's still going to be 2, regardless, because Hayley has to sit out regardless.
Yeah.
Do you reckon there was a bit of production interference where they were hoping Hayley was going to pick, and every single box is sit out the next 2 challenges, sit out the next 2. No matter what draw you pick, it's just sit out the next 2 challenges to just.
And now Sophie's like free ride. This is really not a huge it's a very circumstantial disadvantage. Like the challenges presumably are set up in a way this will be a disadvantage. But there's a lot of the challenge we watched, it would have been if you had the extra weight. But a lot of the challenges, like when they were taking it in turns to throw the sandbags into the noughts and crosses, or the puzzle and the sandbags into the bucket, like it wouldn't have mattered if someone sat out.
That's been very individual. It hasn't they've been working as a team, but not together. It's been individual challenges as a tribe. So
I do hope these next 2 challenges are ones that it is a huge disadvantage to be sitting out, because otherwise I don't really think this is a disadvantage. And Sophie just gets a bit of a free ride for a couple of eps.
Yeah.
Now, before we get to the vote, because this was pivotal to the vote, Joseph spoiled the next episode and told us the rain began, and all these bastards have to go in the rain from now on. Before I jump onto this, Sophie's coming. She wants to submit a rebuttal to our criticism of the game. Sophie says, for those listening and not watching, no, in my head, I thought it was a viable idea to say that Hayley took the advantage, and her disadvantage was that she had to pick someone from either tribe to sit out the next 2. Look, no one's going to buy it. Look, no. Call me wrong if we watch it and everyone believes this, and I get it. You are like 6 hours into this game and you are not thinking like, you would think in your optimal situation. Yeah. So I'm not criticizing where you're at. I can't think anyone buying this. Ma says it's so hard to think of a good lie on the spot. Can relate. Well, what I've learned is you just tell people the truth. And
that's what I mean. But there's so many, all the other people who've been there have just kind of owned that they have something and what their disadvantage is. I don't see why it had to be different for her. Especially she seems to have trust with Ma. Yeah. Ma's already relayed what her disadvantage. Build on the capital that you have. And
Mel has done the best job of this because she started it and she didn't tell them what she had, and everyone's just fine with this.
Yeah, and then she's like, I have some votes, not how many votes she's going to get. She's just she's so vague about it, and no one's pressed her on it. It's crazy.
I think Orange, she set a sort of a meta at Orange that they could be a bit deceptive about this and everyone would be okay with it. At Purple, everyone has been less forthcoming about what's going on. They're only telling their close allies, and Ma's only telling Sophie about the thing. So because of that, I think that Sophie's like, oh, I gotta make up something here so that everyone doesn't know what I've done. And I do like the way Mel set it up, and I think it was a great way for her to do it, and everyone sort of accepted the position. I think Mel was the sort of player that can do it. I think if James Wolfe walked back from the first one, it's like, I've got an advantage, I'm not telling you what it is, everyone would be like, yeah, let's get rid of him. There's the type of person you are. Mel's a very lovely person, and people probably were already underestimating her. Not me, of course. I had her as my winner pick.
Of course, okay.
I had her as my first food pick, so I keep calling her winner pick. I had her as a winner pick.
And first episode, she's got a super idol.
I can't control the advantage Geddon they're setting up in this show. I want to know when all these things expire because it's going to be a huge advantage Geddon.
Well, we're probably going to get that on one of the episodes, one of the, whether it's the merge episode or some potential swap episode, or up until the end where those with advantages have final 5 or final 4 where it's the last time they can be played. It could just be someone might be getting idled out.
Disadvantage City or Rocks.
Definitely going to be advantage Geddon at some point.
Advantage Geddon.
Now, they head back to camp, and I'll do this quickly because then we'll bring in Simon. They get back to camp, and they have fucking umbrellas. Like,
Yes.
what the literal fuck? I played in the rain. We didn't get no freaking umbrellas. Did you play in the rain in one of your games, Danny?
No, but I played in like -1 degree weather.
Yeah, like no umbrellas. What the hell?
Hey, like not nitpicking, but Hayley's solo umbrella at Tribal Council, like the one that she had a whole umbrella to herself.
James was holding it over John at some point. I don't accept this umbrella. I'm not a fan. If you don't want to get wet, you can go home. That's
but also, same for the hosts. The hosts are under a pergola.
Mars trying to underrate the Melbourne rain. Look, it was on and off.
You're on Survivor. Deal with it.
But you know the time that I'm talking about, Mar, where we were in the rain for a long time and no one gave us a fucking umbrella. I don't like it. And so anyway, the vote comes. Simon's like, I had this early arrangement with Hayley and with first boot. What was her name? Sam. And that was his arrangement. Old guy, young girls, let's do it. Never really eventuated, I don't think, for her. But, Simon probably thought it was still happening for some reason. And he's like, oh, well, I still got to vote her out anyway because she's just holding back the team, which she was. But the problem is he had a lot of people on his tribe that were very focused on their alliance and the core that they'd built up. And he just wasn't in that. Unfortunately for him, we'll be keen to get his view on whether he thought that was, what he thought was actually happening in that group, or if he thought it was still a bit in that, look, let's go team strong at this stage. It's a pretty straightforward vote. We've talked about what the votes were. He wanted Hayley. We understand why. John and Anna. Not Amy. Who was calling her Amy?
Mel.
That was Mel.
Mel. She's like,
Mel. Amy. Anna didn't want to vote out Hayley because she is a core number for them in a swap. Whereas they felt like Simon they felt Simon wasn't going to be loyal. He comes across as maybe a loyal guy, but we can get his insight. So
they called him a wild card. Wasn't it a wild card? They called him
do you think he's a wild card?
It's also important to understand. I feel like John had a very good episode this time where he straight away acknowledged Simon's tribal proposal to get out the weak link, obviously being Hayley. And we see John and his core, Anna and Hayley flipping the switch to make it go onto Simon.
So you're talking about how Simon was the only one, to clock Mel's advantage. John has absolutely done that because he was already clocked. He was like, well, Simon doesn't have one because Ma came back and she was disadvantaged.
Yes.
He's tracking who's got John, what. So he knows that there's something. He's just not.
I guess I know that John is
about it yet.
I know John. And you're right, it was a great move for John, and it shows he's really on top of where the advantages are, and him getting frustrated at whoever he was talking to. It's like, no, he doesn't have an idol. Where would he get an idol from? That's right, because Anna was like,
where would he get?
And I know when John talks like that, he gets very frustrated with people don't understand. But the what's going on practically. John has confessed. Oh, should we reveal that? Well, I guess it wasn't in the edit. They might put it in the next episode, but still, Mel told James and him that she had the super idol at that point. Okay, so little tidbit.
Hopefully we see that next step.
Yeah. So
and that shows where potential alliances are gonna be formed coming forward.
But look, I know John's like a super smart Survivor player. Like I know he's going to be like that. Not to credit him for seeing the things that like he saw. But I was just really impressed with Simon's approach there. I think it probably made Mel like wary of him more than anything. We're going to bring on Simon now. He's been watching us, so he's heard everything we've said, positives and negatives, I guess. And before I bring him on, I want to say that like he's really surprised me on this show. I had to do his cast assessment, and when we were doing comparisons to Survivor players, and I said he was going to be like Lee from like Australian Survivor season 1. He doesn't really know the show that well. He's that really good-looking older guy, athletic. He'll be a bit about loyalty and that sort of stuff. And to my great surprise, I think he was so much more like Matt Rogers, and probably Matt Rogers version 2, who was there to like, absolutely just have some fun, build advantages, even betray people. And I feel like maybe the rest of the tribe picked up on that vibe too, and that's why they felt he was a wild card and not just a stable, loyal sort of guy, which was fantastic because he could have been. I thought he was going to be a bit boring like Lee, and he was completely different. That he was very exciting. And I think he brought a lot to the show, and we'll now welcome him. Simon, thanks for joining us.
Right. He's even wearing his own shirt.
Nice shirt, Simon.
I feel like leaving because I'm a bit boring.
So no, I said you're the opposite of
boring.
You're listening. I thought you'd be boring, and you were amazing. So thank you for coming on, and thank you for being so good on the show. You said in your entry, the video you cast through, that you're a filthy casual, that your wife's a big fan. When you went in, did you think you were going to try to play? What sort of game did you think you were wanting to play?
Honestly, I had no clue. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. It really snuck up on me. Like I said on the other podcast last night, I was just building sets and doing my thing and supporting my wife and, just sort of come along and be a bit of support. And then next minute I think it was a week out or 2 weeks out, I was asked if I wanted to be, what do you call it? Come on.
A castaway?
Contestant.
Yeah. No, castaway.
They used to call them castaways in season 1 and 2. No one does anymore.
I was going to fill in. So I was going to
old school. Oh, you were filling?
Yeah, somebody dropped out 4 days to go and was in there, and Carleen sort of said, "Oh, you're in." I went, "Oh, really? Oh, shit. Okay." So
an alternate, yes, an alternate. I'm so glad. I don't know who they dropped out, but they can't have been better than you. I really loved you wandering up just to Hayley and to Sam and saying, "Hey, we're aligned. This is it. Go." Did you think that they'd actually bought into that when you said it?
When I said it, well, it's really a Hail Mary, isn't it? I mean, as you guys know, from jumping into these things, it's also fast paced. So I just thought, if you don't, you've got to start somewhere. And we were walking around looking for bloody love rocks. Kill me. I'm going to have PTSD for those things forever. And we just sort of wandered off to one side and down the end, and I just thought, here's an opportunity. So I talked to these two girls. We just all converged from different corners, and I just thought, I'll just throw this out and see how it works. I mean, it was a bit cliche. I mean, you look at it and go, here's something, an unlikely line, but it really isn't. It's a bit cliche, isn't it? I think, for the game.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It can definitely work, but you probably would. Look, I know the time crunch you're on. They make it feel like with these episodes that you've got so much more time that you didn't actually have. That actually feels like you've got so much more from watching it, but we know how much you don't. And sometimes, it's very hard to know who you're going to connect with, and you're doing it off very, very little information and really your vibe with people. And if you like someone's vibe, then you'll be like, let's go, and just hope that they like their vibe.
And to be honest, I think we actually made it harder for ourselves because the group was really slow early on, and it was really, sit down and chat and try and get to know each other. And it was like, I'm standing around itching going, I really want to go for a walk with somebody and start having a chat. And then I got confused with needing a love rock to progress, which I misread, and then that was me dead. I was wandering around. I was dead in the water, shot myself in the foot. And you can't make time up. It's the trouble. Like they clicked, they'd gone, and they'd moved on, and Simon was languishing behind.
But you survived much longer. You didn't go out first. I know you were a consideration for first, but you didn't. And Joseph and Sam went before you. Do you think that was because of what you brought to the tribe in challenges, or just because compared to those guys, you had a much more sort of better vibe that they were enjoying, even if you weren't in their core alliance?
I think it might have been the challenges. Well, I hope, who knows? I mean, everyone's going to have a different take on it, but I think it might have been that. We missed out ever so slightly on the tug of war challenge because I foot faulted on a circle.
Well, I don't know if you watched our coverage of that episode, but I think that was bullshit, and you got completely robbed. And we know Dom, and he's a filthy liar, and we think you got.
So it's a nice show then. Oh, good.
Yeah, this. Last night was the nice show. This is the nasty show, and we got all.
Nothing like
the nasty show and Max.
Jumping into the deep end. Oh, well, if we're going to be nasty, Danny, can you do me a favour? Can you please turn around and grab a few of those books and hand them up to Max, because you've got 1,000 books and he's got one Venetian blind.
Oh, nice.
As your backdrop.
I'm sorry. Like you haven't seen the other episodes clearly, Simon, where I've been using landscape on my phone.
Yeah, right.
This is an improvement.
Yeah,
it is actually an improvement.
So it's progressive as well. That's great.
Absolutely.
It's evolving like my game.
I'm really glad you got to play in what I said earlier was one of my favorite Survivor challenges. It's good I was surprised that James was outlasting you, but I'm glad the people in the audience confirmed that you were caught on 16 kilos by that point. Was that like, did you look at that challenge and go, this is something I'm going to be able to do pretty good with? And were you proud of your efforts there?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty fit. So I backed myself, and that's why I took the first bag, like straight out of the bat. I took Haley's bag.
Yeah. But there's no one else on your tribe that was going to be able to take it. Let's get real.
No, James could have taken it. James is fit, and I think you might have undersold him. Sorry, we should bag him out because I'm out. He's in.
And this is the nasty show.
And this is the nasty show. So we should have realistically. I should have cut James's arm off and beat him with the wedding.
Maybe next season.
Next season, yeah. If you go and have a look at that, James was playing really hard. James ran the lead. James ran the inside line. James was pulling everybody along. So James was playing really, really hard. Yeah. Really hard. And once you see and you look back and you understand the context of where people are playing and how hard they're playing, you look at it and go, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's the game. I was playing too honest, and I just was playing like myself. I was trying to be motivational to some people in some of the challenges early on. There were some people there that were really doubting themselves or made out they were doubting themselves. This is the beauty of this show. Is it all a facade or is it real? Or just you can't judge anything at face value. It's ridiculous.
We have a question from Now, contestant this season. He's asked, Simon, is it true you would have beaten me in the puzzle if you'd been wearing your glasses?
I would have beaten you in the puzzle if I'd have started at the same time as you, Mel. You silly old.
Look,
I feel like this is a challenge.
We'll get you on live to do the miniature puzzle. Look, you were starting on a bad base, let's be real. Joseph took a long time to capture those.
I feel sorry for Joseph. That was bad.
It was bad.
He took the bait. He said, I'll do anything. I'll do anything the team wants me to. And I went, yeah, I'll do that. And then old Mr. Sardine swam in and went, well, Joseph can hold the bucket and you can do the puzzle. And then bagged the shit out of us at confessional. How good was that?
Who's Sardines? Wolf?
The minor predator.
Yeah.
Minor predator.
Mao doesn't believe you. He said, righto, old man. Like, you're not an old man, Mao. Jesus Christ.
You're asking for it when it's your turn.
Yeah, well, Mal's younger than me, but we have a nice little bit of banter about,
That's good. I feel like we definitely have to get both of you on to do that puzzle or a puzzle live on one of our future podcasts if you're up. And then we can settle it here.
That'd be great. I have a man crush on Mal.
I think a lot of people do.
He's great. Fabulous beard. Beautiful beard.
I was going to say before, but not taking away time from you, Simon. Mel had an amazing confession where he forgot the Ma vs. Mel situation where he forgot her in his Foro Alliance.
Ma is obsessed with him as like the person that's coming for her, and she's got to get rid of him before he gets her. And he's like,
who's the fourth again?
That's bad. Oh yeah,
that was great TV.
No, it was good. And the TikTok music.
Yeah.
It's just the classic of the different perceptions. She thinks that he's so focused on her.
Sorry, CK.
That's all right. She thinks he's so focused on her, he can't even remember her name. And that's what happens in this game. You think people think...
It makes you neurotic to the core. Absolutely. Even when you're in a safe place, like you listen to Haley, and Haley's still not sure, and this and that and the other. And I'd like to go back, Danny, you were mentioning about you were having a discussion before about was it a bad move for her not to go for the immunity? And I think it was. Yeah. I think it was. Like, realistically, you're in a bad place anyway. And how can it be worse?
Yeah.
Even if you lie to everybody and you take a hit, like, you never know what it's going to be. And then, if your call votes you through, and you can sell it either way. I mean, it's such a lovely thing. I'm such a better player now that I'm out of the game.
Oh, everybody is. In hindsight, absolutely.
You learn so much from playing once.
This information overload really quickly.
Yeah, I understand why she went that way. That's all. Like, I completely agree she should have attempted it, but she was just overrun by the negative of what.
But there's no way.
Yeah, and I get that too. But when you think about it, like, if you think about
the thing, when you think about it, like, you've got that seconds there.
In context, if you clear think,
you need to play once.
Can't lose.
You play once to lose that fear, and that's what Ma doesn't have, and that's what John doesn't have. They're not afraid because they've done it, and they know that when you're afraid, you just end up being unsatisfied with your outcome.
Yeah,
and you
didn't do everything you could.
You're afraid to. That's the thing. I mean, you look at some of the stuff, like, and I love George on the Australian Survivor, and he does everything he can. Like, he is working from a base of power. Let's give it context. And I didn't have any. And if we're going to get into the conversation about me talking about Hayley, and I did it in the open, and that on reflection was stupid, but it was a Hail Mary because I knew I was nowhere. I was in Siberia with everybody. The only person I had any sort of lean in with, wasn't lean on, any, and it could be perceived as lean on, was Mel.
That was a lean on for sure. That was like,
absolutely. Was another one. Like, please.
Were you encouraging her to play the Super on you?
We have an ace in the hole. It's not your ace in the hole. It's Mel's ace in the hole.
Well, if it had been bought, it might have been different, but it wasn't. And you just don't know.
Were you trying to get her to play the Superado on you?
No, I was trying to hop in underneath the umbrella and just give me a bit of cover. And she could have used it verbally with the others. Like, she could have said, you can play those idols in so many ways, can't you? You don't have to actually. You could just say, no, I've got a thing and I can do this, or I'd be reluctant to lose Simon, and it changes.
Yeah. Yeah, because they go, she might play it on him. I think, and she was actually left out of the vote, so I guess there's a chance they could have feared that. And
they did.
So
you saw her face at Tribal. She was like, after the public vote, she was like, "What?" She
was left out of it.
Yeah.
Well, Simon, at the time,
John revealed. Sorry, you go, Max.
I was just going to say to Simon, in your exit interview, you thought it was Mel who was the one who orchestrated your blindside, as you said. Was it a shock afterwards or just to get in a different perspective when you found out that she voted with you? How did you find that in that moment, or finding out afterwards? Or were you hurt that you thought that
as we know, you've got no time. You've got to make up a lie in 20 seconds. You've got to you've got to do so much stuff. And I was hurting, and because it was a dagger to the heart losing. I'll be honest, and anybody's ever played, and it's the first time.
So you're a competitive person too.
You're a competitor, aren't you?
Absolutely. I'll compete over nothing and focus on the ground.
Yeah, I'm there right there with you. Me too.
All the toys come out of the cot. All the toys. Yeah. Anyway.
I've seen Danny play. She is the same.
That's right. So you're sort of trying to work out what happened really quick, and you're trying to cope with what happened, and then you're betrayed, and there's a whole lot of stuff going on. And I think a few people were a bit worried about me because I probably stomped around with my bottom lip dragging in the dust for a while there for an hour or so, and then the next day when I came back, I was better.
Look, it's hard, and it's certainly hard to go like fourth or in this sort of position, but like it could be worse. You could have been the first boot, and it's really hard. I hung around
just before merge. Okay,
I've hung around Just for merge is brutal. I've hung around with first boots. It's really hard for them. Like,
they don't like it. Yeah.
Like even in something like this, to mentally recover from it, it can be really difficult. So you can take it home that you didn't end up in that position. And I think, and you could have been. Like, I think there was a chance you could have been. I wanted to ask you about this. You walked into a tribe with another sort of person who's an older age. We're not saying anyone's old, but an older age, and then 6 kids, as you probably perceive them. How did you try to integrate into that environment?
I tried to be supportive. I tried. I think in a lot of ways, I think I was just being myself. I was just being a father figure, and I was just being supportive. It's the role. I've been an old bloke since I was a young bloke, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I have. It's just me. And I'm a mentor and a trainer and a boss, and that's what you do. And I'm always trying to bring the best out of people, and you can change them a little bit. You can't change them a lot. Some people are, they're vessels that are 3/4 full, and some are a quarter full. You can only do so much. So I was if you listen, I don't know if it came in some of those interviews after the early challenges, but I think, and I alluded to it before, but there were some people either playing I'm not very confident card early, and it could have been, but and I was just trying to pump them up. And I remember lifting Haley up emotionally, and Anna emotionally, and Sam, because in the physical stuff, in the tug of war and those sorts of things, they appeared like they were doubting themselves. So I was just trying to I was just being me, really.
Did you?
I like you. You came across as that, Simon. You weren't fake. You were I found you very likable on screen.
Yeah.
And even now, just having this chat.
Oh, sorry. You and Max, Simon would be the best of friends. I can tell you this.
We would have, if we're on the same tribe, we would have definitely hung out.
You guys would have been perfect.
Worked together.
I'm filthy that I didn't get to play with Mel because we had a bit of banter early on.
Yeah, you guys would have been fun together.
Yeah, and we didn't even. I think Mel. We've talked about this afterwards, but I don't think we would have even have to have said anything. Would have just a look would have been enough.
No, it happens. Max and I played together. And we were aligned from a nod. Like we just looked at each other and nodded. And later on, like Max comes up to me, I'm like, "I'm with you 100%." I'm like, "Yeah, no, we did the nod." Like we're locked in. Like it just happened to people. Yeah.
I think I try and tell myself I was just trying to get there was a fly in my face while I was happened to be looking through CK. Like, let's get out. No. It happens like that.
Yeah,
you just gotta see the person. You go, yeah, that's it.
I want to ask you the question. You mentioned about being a boss, and maybe this is just my personality and not yours. But one of the challenges I had about being on my season that I played, a lot of people were like, I was 37 or 38 at the time, and I was way older than pretty much everyone. So it was a really, really young cast.
How terribly old that is.
Yes, I know. But on my cast, I was like, barely anyone had kids, so I didn't have any of that sort of stuff to relate to people with. And I'm a boss in what I do as well. I have people that work for me. And I'm also, do the mentoring thing with them. But I'm also in the situation when the shit hits the fan, I just feel like I need to step in and take over. Like if no one's getting the shit done, someone has to step in and make sure this fucking thing happens.
Like
do you have that
in your bag?
Yeah. Did you find that instinct coming out at all? That like, you're all morons and you need me to fix this? Or did you hold back on that?
Oh, I wasn't. You're all morons. It was more like there's a problem. No, it wasn't because I mean that disdain didn't kick in because it was about Haley being injured. So it was like we've got to get this done.
No, I mean just generally, not about Haley, but about just generally, like if you felt they were
drawing on that instance. No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I could see it, and I could see the manoeuvring, and it's not me. Yeah. So it's I was just like, oh, okay, it is a game, and we've got to do this, and so I tried to test it. I mean, I should have pushed a lot harder.
Yeah.
But it's an unnatural thing to do, so it
wasn't throw someone
and I could have, and my beautiful wife said to me before, she could have, you knew you're on the outs, and I did. I knew I was on the outs, and that's why there was a Hail Mary for Hayley, and there was a, and you try with Mel with a golden apple. I'll refer to it as that, and you just probing, just a little. I wasn't too pushy. I didn't think, Danny, was I pushy with Mel? I just was testing the water. I was just trying to, because you made reference to it before, and I did, and I was just trying. I was just trying.
I think you were playing a wonderfully subtle game. I think you weren't pushing, and I think that perhaps the rest of your tribe was concerned that you knew you were on the outs. They feel that a swap is coming. You're the sort of person that the purple tribe, the smart players there, they'll quickly work out that you weren't really in their group, and they'll just gobble you up and say, "Come with us." And with Mal, as you mentioned, suddenly the two of you are the best of friends, and you've left these orange guys in the dust. And I know, John, as I've said, we've played with him. He's a very smart player. James plays a lot of orgs. He's a very smart player. Like, these guys were quick. They knew exactly what was going to happen with you in a swap, and you weren't going to be with them. So it was time.
Well, they called you a wild card. They were like, better the devil we know than someone who is not in our alliance. So
isn't that funny? I'm a wild card because you haven't talked to me, because you don't. I'm aligned to, because I'm not aligned, because no one's talking to me.
Yeah, right.
How we twist it. We twist it to suit ourselves. You're a wild card. No.
I would have talked to you.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. You talk to
Annabelle's here. She's come in. She's just been very busy. She loves you. She actually said she gave me some notes. She said, if you get divorced, call her up. Just if you get divorced, she's not trying to ruin anything, just in case.
She's there.
No, I don't know if we have any more.
Thank you. That's a lovely offer, but I'm not planning on doing it again. Really expensive.
You'll be so disappointed.
Really expensive, but the coffers just aren't full anymore.
You can't cut it anymore. Does anyone have any more final comments?
I was going to say, Simon. So you brought up your wife before, and she has played in the previous season. Did she give you any tips or any like information that helped, or information that you wish you took into the game to, I guess, progress further?
Annabelle, I saw that.
So it
tempting. Sorry, Max, you got.
Fair enough. It was a good comment.
Well, you didn't talk about your personal wealth, so.
Look, you probably don't know this, but Max and Annabelle are sort of dating, so he's just struggling with.
Yeah, be careful, Simon. Watch yourself.
When you're a sardine around an orca.
Touche. Anyway, if you want to answer my question, you can, or you don't have to. I don't mind. I don't care anymore, Simon. It's past my bedtime.
Max had enough.
No, what I was saying. So, did you get any tips?
Yeah.
From your wife going to the game, and did you use them to your advantage, or did you think you should have used them a bit better?
Well, before you answer, Sophie says she can hear Carleen in the background. Bring her in, and then you can answer Max's question about whether you took her advice or not.
I'm not dressed. No,
you're not dressed.
She's ready. She's ready for me. She's not dressed.
Okay.
Okay. So you probably want to end this interview fast as well, then.
Did you take 15 seconds? No. Did you take your advice?
Oh, sorry, I got confused about the timing. I was talking about something.
That's funny.
Yes, she did give me some tips.
No, you didn't listen.
There you go. You heard that? No, I didn't listen. And that'll sum it up nicely. Yeah, no, it's just moving too fast, and I'll plead naivety.
Now, look, you were fantastic. Look, if you have these shows and it's hard to get people to be on them that aren't Super Survivor fans, because why else are you going on an amateur Survivor and putting yourself through this if you're not a super fan? But if the show is just super fans, that's boring. Like, you need a mix of characters and personalities and ages, and people that know a lot about the game and people that don't know as much. That's what makes it interesting. So it's so good when people like you are available to come on, to try this out, to put themselves out there. I said this to Grace on her episode, because it was really hard where she went out, and it's a lot of people won't put themselves out there for something like this. I know you're a confident guy, so like, but for some people, it's very challenging to just go and do this. Max is not that sort of person. Max is a buff collector. That's the level of nerdom he is. He's got a whole set of buffs. Nice. It was so fantastic that you were able to come in and try that variety of character, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Thank you. The one thing I did want to do was just bring a bit of good TV, and I hope that it was worth watching and there was a bit of something in it. For you guys, feedback for you guys, this is actually really cathartic, and it's really good to come back again and just have some nice positive energy around it, because I think some of us probably need it more than others, and you're doing a good job. Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you so much, Simon. It's so good for you to come on. And I want to thank Danny for filling in very late notice. Annabelle only piked on me like this afternoon. And I really loved your inputs, Danny. I knew that'd be great.
Thanks for having me. I'm no Annabelle, but thank you.
You're a ferocious player. No one can make up for Annabelle. And Max, I think without Annabelle here to push you down, you had some really great hot takes today. So well done, buddy.
Yeah,
I still have to compete against you, CK, but thank you. Danny, thank you so much. And Simon, that last message was very important. Spreading the positivity. Loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. You're great TV, as we've said. CK, thank you.
Thank you to everyone that's watching live, all the people on the comments, the people that then listen to this after when you're running or doing your podcast. We love having everyone here supporting these Australian Amateur Survivor games. They're a labour of love. And, we're all doing this for fun, and it's a wonderful community. So everyone engaging with this, we thank you for listening. We thank you for watching. We'll be back next week with whoever the next boot is. We haven't been doing this. Like Simon, obviously you don't comment on this. Maybe we should make a pick for who's going to be the next boot. I'm going to bet.
God, I have to get the cast out now.
I'm going to bet Joe.
Remember whose name?
I'm betting Joe. That's what I reckon. Right, Max?
I'm going to throw a spanner in the works. If Wunyu loses again, I reckon James. I'm going to send him for a big target. Yeah.
The Japanese are coming out.
I don't think he will, but I'm just going to throw it out there because he's they might get 2 threats out, bang bang, just like that.
Love it. And what about you, Danny? Who do you think is going to go?
I think Sophie. I think they call her on a bullshit and send her packing.
She's got an idol though.
Wow. Did she see it coming?
I can't wait to get the ORCA on the show, to be honest, because this is now known as the ORCA Pod, and I didn't have a good name for this show. Now it's now the ORCA Pod, so I can't wait to get the ORCA himself. I hope he goes a long way, but also hope he goes soon. So I wanted that. Anyway, thank you.
Can I just say there was one question you didn't ask me? Well, my one regret was that I couldn't fulfil Grace's. What was her comment? That you hope Simon came and got you all. I don't know where that came from. It was amazing.
Yeah, she wanted you to get.
I wish you got that all too.
Yeah, me too.
Grace.
That would have been fun.
Thank you so much for everyone. We'll see you next week. Yeah, be safe. Cheers.
Bye.
See ya.